Hey everyone, what's going on? I just wanted to make a video explaining my thoughts on where the format is going over the next couple of weeks and some reasons why for that. If we look at, so let's start with the present right now. If we look at a lot of the YCSs and the decks that are topping right now, it's always decks that are innovative. If you start looking back at Long Beach, there were so many decks that topped that had that were really interesting meta calls. There was Dark Worlds, which won the whole thing, and there were decks like Wilson Sang's Wind Up Beast deck, which was like not. I mean, these were decks that weren't really considered to be able to top, and they did very successfully. And I feel like that was a moment where I really noticed that decks that are winning events are the ones that are interesting meta calls. They're decks that are able to combat the meta especially well, and they're really innovative. I don't know what people are talking about saying that this isn't a format for innovation. This is like such a good format for innovation where literally anything can happen. If you look at Chaos Dragons, how they won those two YCSs in a row, and they became a good deck. No one was using them. They were like, oh, it's just a structure deck. Like, they weren't really using it. But pretty much, I think it should have been expected. This card, Light Pulsar Dragon, is amazing, amazing, amazing. So it's really decks that have this innovation, which are going to be the ones that are topping. It's going to continue to go that way. Some of the decks that I see being really successful in the future are decks that are able to have control aspects like Dino Rabbit does, but also the ability to go off anytime they want. And I kind of see Hieratics going that way. I mean, they have, Hieratics. They're really like an OTK deck, but they seem to be pretty consistent anytime I've played them on Dueling Network. And I think they're going to be really good. Right now, they're not, so I would grab Hieratic stuff now because in a couple weeks, I think they're going to be a lot more powerful and they're going to see a lot more play. So definitely check that up now. Decks that are going to, we're going to start seeing decks meaning more than 2 copies of MST. I think over the course of this format, if you look at when MST was brought back up to 3, people were just playing chainable traps. They would play Crush Shoot, they would play Dust Shoot, Mind Crush, Mind Crush. And then people realized that traps were still very viable, and so they started playing more and more. And it's for a while now, the number of trap cards that have been played in decks has been increasing. And I think that that's going to continue going on. Now that Galactic Overlord was released, we have Night Beam and all those cards like that that are able to destroy spell and traps. There were like 4 or 5 that came out in Galactic Overlord which have that effect of being pseudo MST cards. But MST still is the best version because it's a quick play and it's just never going to be, it's going to be a staple forever. I think that it's going to be a really good meta call for really aggressive decks to start main decking 3 copies of this card because you're going to be able to push through their opponents. Right now it's a big meta call to be playing Skill Drain. I think this is also going to go out of favor a little bit for cards like this. Macrocosmos. It's a really good card. And I think decks that are going to be able to main deck this are going to have a lot more success because they're able to shut plays down and, keep going. Kind of like that Blackwing deck that topped a couple, I don't know, YCSs ago, I don't remember which one, but he was like, every deck should be side decking this card, and if you can't side deck it, he's going to side it against you, which I thought was really, that was really funny, and I thought it was really, really smart too. The deck, okay, so what's coming out in the next couple of weeks? We have Return of the Duelist, which is a huge set that has that's when the Gear Gias are coming out, and that's when the magical archetype are coming out. Those are 2 really good archetypes that are really consistent and standalone good. Like, I remember when Order of Chaos came out, people were like, oh, you can build a deck just by buying a box for Order of Chaos. With the Inzectors, you put in an Inzector engine and a wind-up engine, and you're good to go. I see Return of the Duelist being a similar influential pack where just buying a box of that, you're going to be able to make a really good deck. I don't know how good Madolches are yet. I haven't really looked into them, but I think Magical and that other deck, Gear Gias, are both going to be very powerful decks that are going to be able to control the board, and Gear Gias are just crazy. They're able to exceed like mad. In the TCG, we have the Samurai structure deck coming out. These Samurai monsters, they're going to be really, really good. Samurai have the ability to main deck this card, which is a really good meta call and is going to give them a huge edge over the competition. They also have Xian. They're going to have a boss monster. They have a bunch of boss monsters they're going to be able to negate. And depending on what their Xyz monster does, they might be able to control even more. They have that ability to drop Naturia Beast and Naturia Barkion. Like they're a very powerful deck. And if it's made with almost like an anti-meta stun aspect, it's going to be really good. Like really, really good. It kind of makes me want to start playing it. Like, yeah, I probably will. Something else. Same thing with evols. Evols are a lot like samurai in one way in that they can spam the field really quickly. Where like you flip an evo tile, you get the Saurus one, the blue one, and then the blue one gets one from your graveyard. Then you all of a sudden like went +2, like one, and then you just exceed for the evol Zor. Like that's insane. And being able to go into Solda. Solda is a really good card too. 2600 attack is very good, and being able to detach to negate a special summon, that's crazy. He's really good. And then like, what's his other effect? He can't be destroyed by card effects. How are you supposed to get over him? I mean, deprison obviously, but decks like evols are able to play low monster count because they have such good toolboxing and lots of spell and traps. So they're going to be able to protect themselves. Another reason why this card is going to be really good in 3. Samurai, they have Gateway, they have 6 Samurai United, they have double Smoke Signal. They're going to be able to search right through their deck. So they're going to have low monster count, high spell and trap card count. The meta is shifting toward higher spell and traps, so people are going to be main decking triple MSTs to combat that. This is a very, very good card. And so I think the format's actually getting really, really interesting in that sense, in that where there's a lot of room for innovation, a lot of room for creativity. There's a lot of opportunities for players to build the deck they really want to build. It's not a tier 0 format. There are obviously some dominant decks, you know, Dino Rabbit, Inzectors, and Heroes, Dark World right now. I don't remember what the top decks are, but they're the ones that are consistently topping. But there always seem to be rogue decks that are great meta calls that are topping as well. And those are going to be the decks that are going to be able to push through and, you know, like, it takes innovation right now, and you can be very innovative this format to make good decks. So that's where I think the format's going. I hope you guys agree with me on that. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you think it's going to be completely different. If that's the case, you know, comment down below what you think. If you like the video, like it. If you want to get more content from me, remember to subscribe. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching.